What's up, guys? Let's talk carry optics. I'm going to give you my top choices for what I think you should use in the carry optics division. Still a thriving division with the most recent nationals having over 500 shooters in it, including the best shooters from around the entire globe competing in the middle of freaking Ohio. So it's still a thriving division, hyper competitive. So let's jump right in. First off, Old Faithful, everyone's favorite son for some apparent reason, but that's got to be the Glock 34 or 1745 19X, whatever variant you feel comfortable using, whether you want a shorter slide, longer slide. Nothing matches the aftermarket support and the pre-troubleshooting of anything, any recipe you want, any problem you may encounter, than the Glock platform. Back when I first started shooting, when production was really on the rise, carry optics wasn't a thing. Back then, you were an idiot if you used a double action, single action gun. When guys like Dave Savigny, he was wiping the floor with everyone and he was using a Glock. And even still, in 2024, you got guys like Brantley Merriam who are crushing it and took 7th at Carry Optics Nationals. So, Glock, solid choice. You can't go wrong with them. All right, number 4. I think the Canic Rival or SFX fits in this slot. No, not the steel frame. That seems to have a little bit of growing pains, and I've seen more of them have trouble than not. And for the price, it's really hard to beat like an old SFX or even the new Rivals, especially if you can find them pre-owned. The SFX is a fantastic gun for carry optics, period. And you can look all the way up to Nils. Nils does 2-gun, IDPA, USPSA, IPSC. Yes, he's sponsored by them, but it doesn't change the fact that he still wins with them. As far as street price goes, depending on which one you want to get, they're like $550 to $650. So for $1, they're really good, and the triggers are good enough that I think you could add dot and mag extensions and go. But if you're looking for the new hotness, that would have to go to number 3, which would be the Walther PDP steel frame. If you like really new, you're going to pay for really new, and Walther steel frames have always been higher, and high is exactly what I would describe this price. You're going to pay like 1,600 credits to get the PDP steel frame. Big bonus to that, the trigger is absolutely amazing. The steel frame already has the performance duty trigger in it, which is their crazy aluminum flat face trigger, which is fantastic. Or one of the small issues with this choice is you're going to have to be prepared to wait to get your red dot plate in. I'm not sure the availability of aftermarket plates for them yet. I think if you're a guy coming from Striker but wants a little bit heavier of a gun, but don't want to have to learn manual safeties, this is your option. You should be getting the PDP steel frame and you're going to love it. And you have guys like my buddy Jay Beal, who took 5th in carry optics at this year's Nationals. All right, number 2. This spot has to go to the prodigal son of the production division. It's got to be the CZ Shadow 2 Optic Ready. No, it does not need to be the Shadow Orange. I don't think you need to pay for that one. I don't think it's worth the extra money for it. Again, like other ones, you're going to have to wait for the plate, but I know there's aftermarket plate companies for the Shadow 2, and there's plenty to find online. Normally, I would tell you the Shadow 2 is kind of expensive, but when you compare it to the Walther, it almost seems like a bargain, because for around 1,300 bucks, you can get the Shadow 2 Optic Ready. Now, to me, you can compete the Shadow 2 out of the box as is. I personally would put grips on it. It's not a requirement, but the factory grips kind of suck. It would be a shorter list to give you of the people who don't shoot this gun in carry optics than people that do. Eric Graffel, who just won carry optics nationals. Christian Seiler uses a Shadow 2. Tyler Meisenheimer uses one, who took 15th at Nationals. You'll see at least a half dozen of them at a local match. And again, in the competition world, kind of like Glock, the amount of people that have a Shadow 2 that have troubleshot it, figured out what to do with it, what good recipes work for, this bullet, that bullet, that's already found out for you. That's already out there because so many people use it. That's a big plus. All right, before we get to number 1, I want to give an honorable mention, and the honorable mention is the CZ P10F. I think this gun gets overlooked far too often. Great capacity, good magazine design. The trigger's okay out of the box, but Apex makes a fantastic trigger kit for it. It just has good ergos to it, and it shoots really, really well. And you have companies out there like Stonebridge Gunworks who can set you one up with a complete package, and it is an absolute tack driver. If you want to do it on the budget end, there's constantly CZ P10s going on sale for $400 or $500. You don't see too many of them, but you never also hear anything really bad about it. I think it's a solid sleeper buy. I think that's why it deserves a spot as just at least an honorable mention, because it is a good deal to get into for carry optics. And number one, I'm sure all of the people that know me, it's a big shocker, but I think the best gun that you can use to get into carry optics is a Smith & Wesson M&P. Not the metal one, not you. I think the metal one is, the juice is not worth the squeeze or the extra money. It doesn't give you what you would want out of what people would want a steel frame for. This aluminum frame doesn't give it to you. Buy the polymer one for 400 or 500, whatever it is. Get yourself an Apex kit. You could use the factory mounting options. I've yet to have a dot fall off while doing it, but there are also at least a couple aftermarket companies that make a solid plate to mount them. Grab yourself a dot and some extensions and go. The gun is that good. It can take you all the way to the top. For example, my buddy Hunter Constantine shoots it, and he just took 24th at Nationals. It's slowly coming around. The M&P is still that one gun. Probably not quite as bad as the P10, but close to it, where people just sleep on it. The gun is super solid. The mags are not crazy expensive. Extensions are easy to find. The gun is just reliable. You know, and it being not crazy expensive, it doesn't have the same aftermarket support as a Glock, but it definitely has better ergonomics than a Glock. It definitely has a better trigger than a Glock. And to me, that gun is just, it's perfect. That's the list. Those are my top guns. What do you guys think? Are you going to get a carry optics gun to keep in your rotation for training, or to shoot at some major matches that come up? You think limited optics is going to kill it? Or were you as surprised as me to see, when I really looked at it, that there are $400 or $500 guns, if you get them used or on sale, on the same list as $1,600 guns, and they seem to be just as competitive? Like, comment, subscribe, whatever the hell you're supposed to do with that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.